Welcome to episode 2 of my scavenger hunt across Adelaide. I'm tracking down 5 secret locations by using a system of automated hotter-colder questions. Last time, 6 hours and 37 minutes after setting off from Victoria Square, I found location number 3, the tower building of Bel Air Fine Wines. I've used 10 of my 30 available thermometer questions and my map now looks like this. I'm now getting on a train from Pinera Station with the aim of finding location number 4 before the sun sets. Here's our train. On the train from Pinera, I think Goodwood Station is the one that we'll be getting off at to hunt down location number 4. I'm hoping that one should be pretty quick, maybe 1 or 2 thermometers. Here's a reminder of what the map looks like. This triangle here is the area we'll be searching for location number 4. Pulling into Goodwood. Freight train going past. We're now just outside Goodwood Station, which is inside the little Dorito that we have to search for location 4. We're going to do a couple of quick thermometers. As you can see, there's not going to be a lot of sunlight left today, so we'll probably find number 4 and then find the other 3 tomorrow. Hello, I'm at the intersection of Goodwood Road and Railway Terrace. I'm going to start a thermometer here and then head south so that the thermometer midpoint is on Surrey Street, because that seems to be a pretty good split in half of the Dorito that we're searching. All right, let's get going. Just running along here, make the most of the daylight we have. This is Surrey Street, which is the road I want to use to divide. There are some cool structures around here. I'm at the intersection of Goodwood Street and Angus Street, which puts the thermometer midpoint right on Surrey Street. We are colder, so we're in the northern half. So just a tiny triangle now. Alright, we're down to just this tiny triangle. I'm going to go back to the intersection of Goodwood and Railway Terrace and do the 250 check there, because I think that should almost certainly be a hit. That will give me a good starting point. Back the way we came. So we found one location, including the thermometer we just did. We've used 11 thermometers, so that's just over a third. So that might not sound great because we've used a third of them to find a fifth of the locations. However, all of those 11 that we've used today, with the exception of maybe a couple of them, have given us pretty good information about the other 3 locations, 1, 2, and 5. So I feel like finding them should use fewer thermometers than outright finding 3. I also think number 3 was in a pretty difficult area relative to the general geography because of the weird curvy train line. So I'm feeling pretty confident we shouldn't run out. Hello again. I've made it back to the intersection of Goodwood Road and Railway Terrace, and we're going to check if we're within 250 meters. I suspect we will be. If we're not, that'll be a bit frightening, but let's find out. Moment of truth. We are not, in fact, within 250 meters, which is quite interesting. However, that means we can rule out this bubble. So I was a bit surprised that we weren't in the region there. However, the area is small enough now that I don't think I want to use any more thermometers to narrow down the area. So I'm going to just check basically the 2 extents that were not covered by that radius. So there's a bit to the northwest, bit of the triangle, and there's a corner of the triangle to the southeast. So I'm basically gonna head to each of those, starting with the northwest one, which is the direction I'm heading now, and do a check of the radius from there. So the 2 locations to check are actually at or near places we've already been to today. One of them, the northern one, which I'm heading to now, is the showgrounds. Actually basically covers that entire section. So I'm going to head up to the showgrounds we walked past earlier and do the check. I'm hoping the location isn't inside the showgrounds themselves, because that could be an issue, because I don't know that I can actually get inside the showgrounds. There goes the train. This is where I did the thermometer earlier, so this train line is actually the western boundary. Behind these sheds, it smells like animal wee along here. Probably because it's full of animal wee, because they probably keep animals there when the show's on. Hello once again. This is about as far north as I think I need to check. Still just kind of between the railway and the showgrounds. Here comes another train now, actually. So I don't think it's in this northwestern bit. So I'm gonna head southeast and I'll report back when I get a bit closer. Heading back south, and I just found this cool Pac-Man. Alright, I have news. This is Goodwood train station. I was heading south along the path here. I checked the location when passing through here and it was a hit. And that's a good sign because it means that I didn't make a mistake during my map. So now we look at the image, which is very nondescript. It is a picture of a blue chair through a wire fence. Hopefully that chair is still there, otherwise this is going to be really hard. Time to look for a chair, I guess. So some things to consider is the fence is something like this, but there isn't a lot of this fencing along here, although there might be on the other side of the train tracks. Okay, I've rechecked the second thermometer we did today, the east-west one, just to see what area that gives. We did that a bit further north of here, and the rail line where we are now at Goodwood Station actually curves to the east a little bit. So what that means is that there is a little bit of valid search space on the western side of the tracks. So I am going to cross over now. There's this tunnel we use to access the station that I'm using to cross over. Funny to think that I've been within 250 meters of this thing 3 times today. Alright, some observations from this park on the other side of the tracks is this fence here is not the kind of fencing that we're looking for. Fencing on the platform itself is a lot closer. It is pitch black at the moment though, so this is going to be a bit rough. There's the park, there's the station. I'm going to head north this way a bit because my search radius has a little bit more in this direction. I'm at the very northern extent of the radius here. I haven't seen anything that resembles that fence, so I'm going to turn back. There are a couple of streets slightly to the west, one running north, one running west, that are technically within the area, but I'm not sure how likely you would to see that kind of fencing away from the train line. So I'm going to head south now. So I just had another look at the picture, and it does look like the planter boxes, there's actually more of them further from the fence, so that it's some kind of vegetable garden. But the photo is taken through the fence. Wow, it is so dark. I'm going to do a quick scan along these streets, but then I'm going to go back to that park area. I've searched the road going west, and there are actually houses that have that exact style of fencing in their front garden. That means it could be in front of someone's house. So I'm going to search the north-south road as well. I found another house that had the same kind of fencing, though it wasn't it, and then I hit the northern extent along the northern road again. So I gotta go further south again now, I think. Ditch. 1935 ditch. I'm a bit concerned because there is this garden looking area, but it's very much getting excavated. So I hope it's not the case that that chair used to be here and now is not. There's just a massive tunnel going right through it. So I think this has probably been like this for a while. I'm trying really hard not to look shady, just wandering around in the dark like this, trying to find a chair, because it does look kind of sus.
I'm now just conditioned to get excited whenever I see that kind of fencing. I've seen it a few times, but it's in places that it's just way too dark to film, which means it's really hard to spot blue chairs in them as well. Alright, this is the extent along Railway Terrace to the east. So again, another extent hit. Time to turn back. I will say finding a chair in the dark is certainly harder than trying to find a tower in daylight. I was just checking down in the bottom of the park here to see what's here and if it can be here, but it's just a stream of some kind. Now crossing over that stream that we just looked at, the other side, the southern side of Railway Terrace. This is the right kind of fencing, but it's definitely not that. Made it to the southern extent. Time to head back north, find another house with the same fencing. It's not it. There is still a tiny sliver of road on the southwestern side, so I'm going to check that because I'd be kicking myself if it turned out to be there. Just finished searching the tiny sliver. It's not there. Just head back to the other side of the railroad. I'm so confident about location 4. I'm just going to find it instantly because the search area is so small, but it's taken so long. Train. I'm going to check the train platform itself just to be safe. This is the right kind of fencing, but I don't see any planter boxes. Doesn't look any better up this end of the platform. Train. Okay, I wasn't on the train platform. I'm gonna search this south area next. Alright, I think there's only realistically 4 streets left that it can be on. So if I just walk up and down each of them, I should find it. This is Victoria Street here. This bit's technically not within the range, but there's another road just up here that is. Essex Street South, this one is in range at north. This basically goes all the way to the edge. This is the right kind of fence. So I just came up on Surrey Street, which is this street here, and I just remembered I did a thermometer using Surrey Street as the lower boundary, and I knew that it was north of there. So all of the southern bit that I've just been searching was an absolute waste of time. Hang on a second. So I've just come across this fence, which looks an awful lot like a garden. There's a blue chair. So I've just checked and we have in fact found location number 4. This is it. I feel great about that. Alright, it is 6:42 p.m. We found 2 of the 5 locations today. It's a bit too dark to do any more searching today, so I'm going to go back to my hotel, get some sleep, and I will start the hunt again tomorrow from this exact location. See you then. Good morning. It's 8:05 at Goodwood Station where we left off yesterday. We found 2 of the 5 locations yesterday, the ones in the southeast. We've got 3 more to find today, 1 in the southwest area and 2 in the northeast. I'm going to start by searching for the number 5 one, which is the southwest one. We took about 9 hours to find 2 of them. Hopefully we can be a bit quicker about it today. I'm a bit optimistic about it because both of the search regions we have to go through today have fairly straight tram and train lines going through them, which I think should allow for completing thermometers quite a bit more quickly than yesterday when we had to deal with the curved train line in the southeast. I'm gonna try and get on a tram towards Glenelg and use that line, which runs pretty straight, to cut the southwest region up. I've got about a 500 meter walk to the tram station. Just gotta walk along the tram line for a bit. I did come through here last night. I was searching for the blue chair. It looks very different when you can actually see anything at all. Just cross over the tram tracks here. Tram stations are a lot more modern than the train stations by the look of it. They actually have digital displays which flicker very interestingly when you film them. Can't see that with my eyes. Looking at this, it looks like this one might only go the opposite direction to what I want, so I might need to find a different station. I have figured it out. This tram station is a lot longer than I thought. It's got two ends. I've just come from there. I need to be over there. I just assumed it was like the train stations where all the services seem to just depart from one side of the tracks. Have to take a bit of a detour. All right, we're on the right side of the platform now, and there's a tram in 4 minutes. So with the thermometers to now, I've generally been trying to geographically split the remaining area about 50-50. With this one, I'm considering maybe being a bit more high risk, high reward with it and make it so that the area closer to the coast is in a smaller region. The reason for that is I'm kind of partially expecting and kind of hoping that the location is near the coast, which would mean having the thermometer midpoint a bit closer to the coast. What that means is that if I'm right about that, I already have a smaller area to search just off one thermometer. The downside, of course, is if I'm wrong, I then will have a bigger area to search than I would have done if I had just split it 50-50. I also can't be entirely confident that the point that I'm trying to find isn't just in the middle of the ocean, because that is within the 12-kilometer radius. That would be pretty hard to get to. I hope it's not there, but you never know. We'll find out. Here comes the first tram. I've decided I'm going to start the thermometer at South Plimpton, which is stop 9. Alright, just start the thermometer. I'll be ending the thermometer pretty soon. I'm going to need to pretty quickly see whether I'm hot or colder to know whether to get off at the next tram stop. Alright, thermometer's ended. We are hotter on number 5, so we're staying on the tram. I will start the next thermometer once the tram line turns around and heads in a straight line towards the west. I'll have the thermometer go between Glenelg East and Jetty Road. Actually, I've decided I'm going to be even greedier, and so still start at Glenelg East, but end at the actual end of the tram line. So I want to know if it's really close to the coast. Just stopped at Glenelg East, so I'm starting the next thermometer now. Just arrived at Murchison Square, which is the end of the line. We got here quite a bit faster than I was expecting. I think that's probably just because I was used to the long curving Bel Air line that we were on yesterday. It only took us about 20 minutes to get here from when I got on, so pretty speedy. Let's end the thermometer and see what we learn. So we took a bit of a risk with biasing those thermometers towards the west, but that risk has paid off. Both thermometers were hotter, which means we have quite a narrow sliver along the west edge of this search region, assuming it's not in the ocean. Let's update the map to see exactly where we need to search. So the first thermometer we did today is completely useless because it's completely superseded by the second one, so we've ruled out Tom. So we've managed to rule out all of this already. We just have this strip here, assuming it's not out in the ocean here. I'm pretty sure it's not. Next, I think I'd like to do a north-south split across Anzac Highway, which is this road here. But before I do, let's go have a look at the jetty. That's a big pigeon. Here's a regular pigeon for comparison. Alright, enough sightseeing. Time to get serious back into the game. What a bop. I've made it to the corner of Waterloo Street. That way is north. I'm going to start a thermometer here and walk that way to do the Anzac Highway split. Time to run for a bit. Alright, I'm in the middle of Anzac Highway. There is like a place to stand here. I'm not just standing in the middle of the road. So this is the midpoint of my thermometer, so I just need to go the same distance that way. Also, there's a tower thing. The street starts to curve a bit here, so I need to straighten up at the other end. So I am at St Anne's Terrace, and I've lined up so that my thermometer points close to north-south as I can. 700-meter thermometer. We have learned that number 5 is colder, so it's south of the highway. So I'm going to turn around and head back that way, and then we can update our map. Taking the scenic route back. Pretty cool playground here. There's the tower. Down we go. Whee! I've just crossed Anzac Highway again, so we're back in the feasible area. Updating the map in front of this merry-go-round at Beach House. I think I'm gonna split along this road I've just drawn on, which is Robert Street. That should give us a pretty good north-south split. I'll go do that now. I'm going to walk south to Kent Street, which is about 500 meters south, to start the thermometer, just so I don't have to do a massive one across Robert Street. I'm at the intersection of Kent Street and Mosley Street, so I'm gonna start my thermometer here. Now we head south. More running. Here's Robert Street, the street we want to draw our line across. We've made it to Farrell Street. Our thermometer center point is right on Robert Street at the moment. We're going to end the thermometer. It's a 600-meter thermometer. We've gotten a colder, so the location is north of Robert Street. So we've got a pretty small area now. I'll head back up that way. I need to decide soon just how small an area I want to get it to before trying to do the 250-meter radius detection. I've decided to do at least one more thermometer for this location. I'm going to do a east-west one to figure out which side of Mosley Street it's on. I'm walking east now, and then we'll walk towards the west to actually do the thermometer. I have 15 thermometers left, so I've used half. We're kind of under budget for this location can theoretically have up to 18 used by the time we find this. However, 6 of the remaining thermometers are long ones. They are ones that have a distance longer than 1 kilometer. So I do want to make sure that I still have some short thermometers left to find locations 1 and 2, so that I don't have to walk for ages just to find out any information at all. I'm aiming to do about 800 meters for this one. I've just realized a slight problem with trying to do an 800 meter thermometer that crosses Moseley Street, which is that there's only 300 meters between Moseley Street and the ocean. So I won't be able to cross 400 meters to the west because I'll have to go swimming to do that. So what I'm going to do instead is get at least 800 meters from the ocean to the east. Probably go a little bit over just in case the map's slightly inaccurate. And then start the thermometer from there. It'll move the dividing line a little bit eastward, but I think that's okay. I've just had an even better idea. How do you get over 400 meters away from something, 300 meters from the coast, without going in the water? Maybe if there was some kind of long man-made structure that protruded into the ocean. So I'm gonna head north to get in line with Glenelg Jetty and start the thermometer from there.
This game's so cool, man.
Okay, I've made it onto Jetty Road, which is basically 860 meters directly east of the end of Glenelg Jetty, and about half that distance away from Moseley Street. So I'm going to start the thermometer from here and then walk to the end of the jetty, and that should give me the exact split I want. To the jetty. We're back at the entrance to the jetty again. Time to walk up it once again. We're back on Glenelg Jetty, not quite at the end, but our thermometer midpoint is now exactly where I want it. So I'm going to end the thermometer, and it's over 800 meters, which is what I wanted. And we learn that it's hotter, so it's closer to the coast. I'm going to update the map. From there, I'm pretty tempted to just start the radius check. So it's pretty near here. This whole area is maybe 750 meters tall. That's big enough that I think I want to do another north-south thermometer. I'll make this one pretty simple. I'm just going to do a pretty short thermometer and see whether it's north or south of the jetty here. I'm 200 meters north of the jetty, so I'll start the thermometer from here. Walking south once more. Alright, I've ended the thermometer 400 meters south where I started. The cutoff point is just south of the jetty. We have learned that it's colder, so it's in the southern area. At this point, I think the area is small enough to do the radius check. We're down to this tiny area now. For context, there's the whole map. I am back on Kent Street. I'm gonna check if I'm in range. How exciting. Apparently I'm not in range. Slightly scary. Ooh, don't like that. I really hope it's not in the middle of the ocean. I don't think she would have put it there. It can't be on the jetty because we've ruled that out with the last thermometer. Checking from this beach shed thing. We've discovered the location. All right, let's have a little look, shall we? I don't recall seeing anything like that today, but there's an apartment building behind that should be pretty recognizable. There's grass in front. Certainly an easier picture than the chair, I think, but I don't want to speak too soon. Some lessons from the last end game I did is remember that I have some hard boundaries from the thermometers. So I know it's south of the jetty, I know it's north of Robert Street, and I know it's west of Mosley Street. So there's no point me searching for anything outside of those areas. I've just noticed the lamps and the plant in the photo, and I am approaching an area that resembles those quite closely. That plant, those lamps, tell me that doesn't look exactly like it. The thing just doesn't seem to be here anymore. Let's see if we're in range. Apparently I'm not close enough, I'll just jiggle around a bit. I think this is pretty clearly it. I just need to find the right spot exactly. I'm really struggling to get the exact location. There's no way this isn't the place, even though the structure is no longer here. I'm just gonna have to brute force this by walking around in circles for a bit. Whoops. All right, we've now found it. Possible that it was also just a really zoomed in Street View map, but the important thing is that I found the location. It's now marked as found. That is location 3 found. This is my timer, remaining game timer.